Welcome, everybody, to the next episode of the Magical Moves Show. I'm your host, Jason Diffendal. Here with me, I'm surrounded by Erics. Eric Gross, my co-host here.
Hey there.
Eric from the Magical Moves Real Estate Company.
Mm-hmm. Yep, we're a real estate team here in Orlando.
And then I have Eric Morton, who you probably recognize.
I made a magical move all the way from the office to the table for you.
You did.
Appreciate it.
You did. Today's episode, we're going to be talking about Windermere specifically, and we invited Eric Morton to come along because Eric lives in Windermere.
I do.
It's only 5 minutes from my house, but he's in a whole different town.
One thing you will notice if you're looking for a home in Orlando, by the way, is some of the cities look like gerrymandered voting districts, right? Like there's just like little long skinny parts where maybe only a little part of it is Windermere or Winter Garden.
Yep.
And that's the case where I am. There used to be a time, I think, when you said Windermere and people go, ooh, you Tiger Woods neighbor in Isleworth or something.
Yeah,
now Windermere is much more accessible than probably the name used to be a long time ago.
That's the classic thing you hear when you hear Windermere. You hear Tiger Woods. That's the thing I heard like growing up all the time.
Yeah, I think people have it. When I started looking, people had different concepts, and like Winter Garden was this, and Windermere was that, and there's good schools and bad schools, and all these kinds of things. But then I went looking, and I'm like, it's not like every house in Windermere is ridiculously expensive. There's affordable places in Windermere, and I looked at a bunch of them too. People have these conceptions, but I think for the most part they're misconceptions about a lot of places, and it's not. It's probably wise to not rule anything out until you go looking.
Right. I think when people think Windermere is like a really, really high-end area, and it is, don't get me wrong. But
there are high-end parts of Windermere, right.
But the core of Windermere, downtown Windermere, the historic section that was built over 100 years ago, that's really kind of what people think of when they think of like the really high-end Islesworth, that neighborhood, and the Butler chain of lakes. Those are top-notch areas. But as we've expanded and grown, Windermere is really, the peripherals are still considered Windermere, but a little bit more affordable.
And we talked about this last time too, like Winter Garden extends all the way down through Horizon West, but that's, completely different than the town of Winter Garden. It's just really a zip code. And Windermere's the same way.
So we may be neighbors with Shaq and Johnny Damon and Tiger Woods and all these people, but we're not really living in the same financial zip code at all.
No.
Right. So, Windermere has kind of grown a lot. The section I live in is the area I think people watching this show most be interested in is pretty much the closest areas to the parks. The closest areas to Magic Kingdom would be in Windermere.
Yeah, we can pull up a map and look. So I'm going to try to start every show with this sort of overview of Disney World, and be able to orient you to where we're looking at. So last time we looked at Horizon West, which is over here. This time we're going to look at Windermere, which is essentially just to the east.
Yeah.
Of Horizon West. So Horizon West is this whole section over here, and then Windermere is this whole section over here just to the east. And so if we zoom in a little closer, you can see the Magic Kingdom, and then right behind the Magic Kingdom is the cast member parking lot, and then Reams Road is the main road that goes behind the Magic Kingdom. You talk about Reams Road, any cast member is going to know where Reams Road is. Named after Lake Reams, right here. But all along Reams Road is Windermere. So I think the dividing line between Windermere and Winter Garden is kind of this intersection up here.
The Quet, is that what?
Yeah, I'd say that's kind of the border.
Summer Port, Summer Lake.
So this Quet Road is kind of the dividing line, and to the west is Winter Garden, and to the east is Windermere. But we're looking here. So we look here behind the Magic Kingdom. There's some housing developments in here. Right in. Let's see if we can go to. I don't know how old the satellite view is, but we go to the satellite view. You can see housing developments here, right? These are right behind the Magic Kingdom.
Right.
Yeah, like you got a clear shot of Disney University from there.
Yeah. So there's the Magic Kingdom. There's the cast member parking lot, and then you've got houses. There's apartments back here too, but then you've got houses all in here. All in this section here is houses, and all in here are developments of houses too. And then you've got, I think these might be more townhouses up here.
There
Oasis
are
Cove.
just kind of that area west here. Those are all townhomes. Yeah, right.
These
where
are
you
townhouses,
There's a lot
yeah.
of townhouses. It's mixed in with with some single family homes.
Yes.
Right there. So there are some townhomes there. You
But-
go further down. There's new construction going on right at that intersection of Fiquette.
Yep.
Which is they are advertising as the
That's
final
up here.
The final stage.
final new construction. And
I mean, there's still a lot of land. The problem is when you look at the map, you can't tell what's buildable and what's not. I mean,
Right.
that's a problem all
Right.
over Florida, and it's going to be a
Right.
problem in every town. Is they fit a little chunk of houses here and a little chunk
And then
there,
they have
but
to leave some greens for watershed purposes too.
Right.
Yep.
Yep.
So
And
they'll
then-
continue building, but it just depends on where at.
exactly.
Eric, when people come to you, and they're Disney people, right? Some of them, many of them.
All of them. Yeah.
Is that are they looking for that proximity? Is that like I want the fireworks in my backyard every night? Is it?
I'd say probably 80%. 80% want to be really close, and then I've got that 20% that says, "Hey, I love Disney, but we want a little bit of separation."
Right. I think there was a time when the impression was if you want to be close to Disney, like Celebration was the spot, right?
Well, yeah.
And in some
Which we'll
in
talk
some
about
ways
in
it
an
is.
upcoming episode.
But I think for proximity to Magic Kingdom and stuff, a lot of people started buying in Windermere, and Windermere has really grown a lot in the last 10 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
100%.
So my house was new construction.
I think I think most everything in this general area, with the possible exception of this little section up here, is all within the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And then you've got more Windermere over on this side. This is maybe a bit older. There's a whole section of townhouses here called the Lake Reams townhouses. I know somebody that lives in there.
Right.
Those are probably 20 years old maybe
Yeah,
at this
they're older,
point.
yeah.
But a lot of the stuff back here is somewhere between 10 and 20 years old too.
It's worth pointing out too. There are two, like the area where you are. There are two elementary schools within a mile of each other. There's Bay Lake Elementary and Castleview Elementary. That'd be like here and here, I think.
So there's Bay Lake.
Yeah, there's Bay Lake, and then down to the southeast, right closest to
Right
the
here.
park, is Castleview Elementary. Those are both brand new, beautiful schools. And there's a new middle school that's just north of there, Horizon West Middle School.
Yeah,
I
that
think
one
there's-
just opened up
Yes.
a year or two ago. Yeah.
And they feed into either Horizon High School or Windermere,
Windermere High School. Yep.
Probably depending. And then of course there's like some of the private schools for the Isleworth types.
yeah.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So there's, as I said, there's the Windermere, and all this part that we're looking at now. Windermere is kind of the affordable Windermere section. It's not
Yeah.
where Tiger Woods lives, but there's both townhouses and single family homes in this whole section. There's a big shopping center up here. So right here is a actually pretty huge shopping center. There's a Publix in here. The Publix. And there's a lot
You've
of
got all your
fast
services
food.
that feed
There's-
that neighborhood.
That's where you
Yep.
go to the 24-hour dry cleaner,
The robot dry cleaner.
the robot dry cleaner. Yep.
Where you don't have to deal with a human being. You just talk to the computer and hand it your laundry.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, this is a shopping center. This is the closest Publix to the Magic Kingdom, but it's the closest Publix to you, I think.
That's also a tip for people who aren't home buyers. If you're visiting Magic Kingdom and you're watching this, that's the closest Publix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
People
Absolutely.
don't know that. They
No.
drive
Yeah, 'cause you
around
can
and
sneak
go
out-
around 192.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you'd have to
exactly.
go all the way down to Celebration to go to the
Yeah.
Publix in Celebration, which is the one I always used to go to.
Yeah.
But so that's kind of the part right behind the Magic Kingdom, and then if we get up further, the further you go north in this map up towards Lake Burden. Is it Lake Burden?
Lake Burden.
I call it Lake Burden, but people have told me it's Lake Burden.
You can put an accent on it if you want.
Do
I
what
won't
you
judge
want.
you. Yeah.
It's It's your magical.
I kind of like the
Jason.
way you said it.
Once you get up here higher, this is the Butler chain of lakes. So Lake Butler is a big lake up here, and all these little lakes are connected. That's why it's called the chain of lakes. Oops.
Yeah, and it's kind of known in Orlando as like the most pristine chain of lakes. Like if you're into boating and fishing, that's kind of where you want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you've got all that up here, and then you see right here on the map where it says Windermere. So we're a far cry from the Magic Kingdom, which is all the way down here off of Reams Road, but this is actually the downtown of Windermere. And so when people say Windermere, this is kind of what they think of.
Right.
And the expensive places are up in here. There's Isleworth. Isleworth is where Tiger Woods lives, or
He used to.
He used to. Yeah, that's kind of like
That's
the
where
big,
his wife attacked him with the golf club, though.
yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Ellen. Yeah.
A lot of golfers, a lot of PGA Tour players used to live.
I
in
mean, they have
Isleworth.
their own country club, so.
Yeah.
But Isleworth, I think, is probably one of the most famous, expensive communities there.
All of those really on Lake Butler and that area, because like
Lake
some
Down.
people, yeah,
Yep. All
like
in here.
Shaq's house is not technically in the gates of Isleworth, but it was
No,
right there.
it's right across the
$24 million
street.
house right there on the 10 feet from the road.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. So you've got this whole section where the really fancy houses are behind gates, and you can't ever get in there.
Some of those neighborhoods are more secure than even Golden Oak. Like it is.
Yeah.
It is
I
gated.
believe
gated.
it.
Yep.
I believe it. But is in downtown Windermere, especially, like we're going to zoom in here on Main Street, this little section. I looked at a house that was down here-ish area on Lake Bessie.
Yep.
I mean, that was kind of reasonably priced. It was an older house.
These
for
are relative
sure.
terms we're using when we say reasonable price, right?
Yeah, I mean that's true, but
it was also a few years ago too. So
it was a couple of years ago. But I mean, like that was on par with houses in Horizon West, and it was real close to Lake Bessie. You could walk to the downtown and stuff. It was an older house and needed some work, but I really liked it.
What made you not choose it?
There were a couple things, and we can talk about this more. One of my ideas for a future episode was to pull up houses that I went and looked at.
Yeah.
And talk about what I liked about them and what I didn't, just to give people an idea of the kind of things that they're going to find in houses around here. So we can talk about that in another show. I liked it was near the lake. It was near Windermere. You could walk to the downtown, but it was an older house. It needed a fair amount of work, and it didn't have a really big yard for the dogs. It was kind of a weird-shaped lot. And it would have been very difficult to sort of fence in enough space for the dogs. So that was the primary thing.
And it was probably built in maybe the 50s or 60s.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah,
that sounds about right for the area.
Yes.
A lot of downtown Windermere was built over 100 years ago. Like you'll see a ton of homes from like wood homes from 1900s to like the 1950s.
Yeah, and you'll see them when you drive down the main street.
I tend to like those. I gravitate towards those types of homes, even though that's not what I bought. I bought new construction, but I love those because they have character and they have usually more space. I think the trend in new construction now is like a great big like open living concept, giant kitchen, living room. In our case, giant kitchen, living room, dining room are all one giant room that's very big.
Yep.
A decent sized owner's suite with a nice big bathroom and closet, and then 2 postage stamp sized bedrooms for the kids and the guests,
and that's
right?
it.
Yeah.
And even though you're buying a new house, it's a lot of money. Slap in some of those wire shelving units and call it a day.
Yep.
And so my advice when you're buying a new home is you're going to have to probably size down if you're used to these bigger ones like built in the 50s and even the 80s. But also put aside a little bit of money for new light fixtures, window coverings, all these things that, because a lot of these people, even though you're buying a $500,000 or more house, a lot of these times they're putting in something that whatever the cheapest light fixture was at Lowe's.
Yeah.
Cheap builder grade garbage.
Yes.
And you're going to have to replace, my first year living there, I had to screen in my patio, put in a fence, buy all new window coverings, buy all new ceiling
Yep.
fans, buy
Yeah.
all new light fixtures, all these things. We're still doing little projects because, the projects are kind of fun and it's nice to make your home your own.
And it's also kind of easy because you don't have to deal with like ancient wiring and stuff like that,
Yeah.
which is kind of a issue sometimes.
Yeah, but you've been to,
It's all up to
no,
code,
but you've been
which
to
is
my
nice.
house. You had to
Yeah.
help me change some light fixtures, and the light fixtures were weird.
They were weird.
And we had to kind of come up with a Jason Diffendal solution to
Yes.
some of my light fixtures.
When was
Stuff
your
like
house built?
2020.
Okay, so yeah, really new.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but it was all like you said, builder grade cheap stuff.
Yeah,
that
it's
we had
builder
to
grade
take out.
cheap stuff. I mean, the house is. I'm not complaining. The house is very nice.
It's a very nice
but
house.
they save a lot of money on the finishings. I think on some of these houses.
Yeah,
nowadays.
100%. That's why when you are buying a new home, a lot of people don't know you can use a realtor, but the realtor is going to advocate for you and be your representative to make sure you get things like garage door openers, blinds, because a lot
Yeah.
of builders won't add that if it doesn't. If it's
Yeah.
not on the certificate of occupancy, like you don't need blinds for a CEO, so
Right.
they're not going to add it. So
Right. We didn't
that's-
have any.
Right.
I did use a realtor when I bought. Unfortunately, I didn't know you yet, Eric. so-
Right. It's all good.
But some of the things were because you're in a new neighborhood where they shuffle a lot of things around. So, for instance, we did our final walkthrough, and everything's good to go. Next day we close. I come to the house. First time walking in the door, and our dishwasher's been jostled out of place because they were trying to swap it with another one. They were trying, you got to keep your eye on builders because
Yes,
it's
you
not
do.
they were not trying to defraud me. These are just construction guys that are trying to make things work in different
Right.
places. I had to go, no, your listing says that the garage door openers are smart garage door openers that are Wi-Fi connected,
Yep.
and these are not. And they came out and, you got to be on top of some of that stuff.
Right.
Even when I was buying my house, and it was a new build too,
Mm-hmm.
I looked at the agreement that we signed, and I said, no, there is a garage door opener, and the sales agent was trying to tell me that it wasn't included, and I said, I made sure. I
Right.
do this for a living.
Absolutely.
Like I know it was
Yeah,
included.
I know what's included.
Yeah.
And some advice that someone gave me a long time ago is instead of doing a punch list of all kinds of stuff after you move in, keep track of it all, but wait a few months because you have
You're
a
gonna
1
have
year
more.
Yeah,
builder
it's a
warranty.
bumper-to-bumper warranty.
So basically,
Yep.
what you want to do is at the end of that 12 months, at the 11-month mark, maybe go. Here's all the stuff because maybe your pavers looked good for 8 months and they started to crack. Maybe your microwave stopped working. Maybe your air conditioning unit is not performing as it should. So maybe wait a little bit longer into that warranty period before you start making long
That's an
lists.
excellent point. I have a lot of my home inspectors, they offer a 1 year or 11-month inspection
Yeah.
for exactly that, for the new build. So
Yep.
if anything goes wrong in the 10th and 11th month, you just keep track of that, have your inspector come out, they'll itemize it, note it, and then you can give that to the builder and they'll fix it.
This is almost a topic that really deserves its own show, like
Yep.
new builds.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we'll have to have you back, Eric. And talk,
Well, if you're moving to
talk more.
Windermere, chances are you're moving into a newer
Something
home.
built
It's
within the
likely.
last 10,
Right.
10 years. Yeah.
But the other thing I want to talk about Windermere, besides being like right behind the Magic Kingdom, and this is one thing that I think it's important to talk about every community that we talk about on this show is traffic. Because traffic can be a nightmare sometimes, and we talked a lot about it when we did the Horizon West episode last episode. But Windermere's kind of unique because of the Butler chain of lakes, right?
Right.
There's all these lakes, and so when you look at this, there's really only one street to get from like up here down to down here, and it's basically the main street of the town,
Chase Road,
and
is
then
that?
Chase Road,
Yep.
and it brings you down here. And so at rush hour, that can be a nightmare. I mean, there's Chase Road, there's a stop sign and a left turn at some point on Chase Road. You've got the roundabout in the middle of Windermere, and the other thing to look at here is Conroy Windermere Road is kind of the main road to get into Windermere from
I-4,
Orlando,
yeah.
the
Right.
east, right? So you've got Conroy Windermere Road here, and all these people are coming over from Orlando, and that's the only way to get into Windermere because of all the lakes that are around.
Right. There's no highway.
No, and so you've got to come in. This backs up at rush hour and to get into Windermere, and a lot of it is people who are maybe even trying to get down into Horizon West in this lower part of Windermere that's near the Magic Kingdom because of all these lakes in the way. There's no other
let
way
me-
to get over
Let me
here.
tell you a secret. As someone who, when I first moved here and when I purchased my home, I had to get around Orlando a lot. I had projects all over town. And Orlando has a way of messing with your head geographically, right? The I-4 says it's the east and west, but in Orlando it runs north and south.
Right.
Yep.
Right? And there's areas you go, oh, I didn't realize that I can get there from here that fast.
Yes.
And the best way to get around Orlando proper from Windermere is not down I-4. It's to go past Windermere High School and not 535. Is it 535?
535.
Yeah, 535.
Yeah.
You go up to like Winter Garden Village and boom, you're on 429.
Yep.
You can take that. You get on Turnpike and 408 and I can get to downtown from my house in like a half hour.
Yeah.
If I were to go and take the way that makes logical sense, which is going to I-4 and taking it could take me 45 minutes.
You kind of got a
to an hour.
slingshot around.
Yeah,
Yep.
you can kind of go around that way. And you do that for almost any part of Orlando, not just downtown, but you can get all the way across town on 408 is usually not that bad during most times of the day, as opposed to a lot of people their instinct is going to be say, I'm going to take I-4 to 528 and I'm going to take 528 to 417.
Yep.
No, there are a lot of other ways to do it up there. And you just have to learn that about Windermere. People talk about traffic. I don't think it's bad at all. And I moved here from Tampa. Tampa traffic is worse in Orlando has a nightmare traffic from about Highway 27, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Coming in I-4 from 27 to just past about to where SeaWorld is. The traffic's pretty bad in Orlando 24/7.
You hit it 100%.
Everywhere else is not that bad.
No.
And I can obviously my commute is easy. I just drive up, turn right on Reams Road, turn right on Floridian Way. I go past the Grand Floridian and Polynesian. I'm on World Drive, and I'm right here in our studio in Celebration.
Yeah.
It's easy. Now, I might have to make one illegal turn sometimes into my subdivision. But other than that...
It's not illegal. There's not a sign that says no left turn.
Yeah.
Other than that, last night's the worst I've seen, which is they were repaving Reams Road because there's a really bumpy part of Reams Road right by
right
Cass
by
Parking.
Yes.
It was really bumpy, and they repaved it last night. So that was really a pain in the butt getting home. But other than that, Reams, that section of Reams between Cass Parking and Fiquette, that can look very daunting at 5 p.m. till about 5:45. But it moves around okay. It could use some improvement. But other than that, there's not really significant traffic problems in that area.
No, I mean, so I just want to talk about, show people on the map what you were talking about. So Windermere over here, instead of trying to get across here to I-4 and then take it up to Orlando, you can go straight up to. This is the Turnpike up here. You can go straight up to the Turnpike 429 and then get on this 408 and take it due east into Orlando, and that's much better than
that's 80 miles an hour the whole
tourist
way.
corridor through the middle of the Universal and SeaWorld and everything is up here, and this is always trafficy. So we talked about this last time too. I love the Turnpike because it's never
toll roads. Sign me up. I love it.
So
Orlando is just one big toll road.
Right. Every
408 is a toll road as well, but you shoot directly east-west on 408. It's super quick to get across there.
What do you think of the downtown Windermere area?
So I think you look at it, and it's like giant oak trees with Spanish moss, some brick roads. I think it's really pretty. In terms of things there are businesses that are in old houses, like old Victorian houses with businesses. It's really cool. I really like Dixie Cream Diner. Have you been there?
There it is.
I haven't been there yet.
Yeah, Dixie Cream Diner is like a breakfast spot. It's pretty in demand. I think one year a bunch of our friends I was out of town, but a bunch of our friends, including Jason, had Thanksgiving at my house because we have a 15-foot long island for hosting and stuff. And so we're not there, but they went, and I think they got a lot of the stuff from Dixie Cream, turkey
we got
and
the turkey from
all
Dixie
that kind
Cream.
of stuff. So Dixie Cream Diner is fantastic.
Yeah, I've heard some good things about it. I just haven't been yet.
Yeah, that's good. There's Windermere Brewing Company right behind Dixie Cream. I've
never been there.
Existed. I never been there. We got to go.
Is that new?
I don't know how new it is. I just noticed because there was a beer at SeaWorld during one of their festivals from Windermere Brewing Company. I'm like, oh wow, there's a brewing company.
It's cool to see that they've added some more local
There's breweries popping up everywhere,
which is fantastic.
Have you been to Yellow Dog Eats yet?
Yeah, I've been to Yellow Dog Eats.
That's my favorite. It's my all-time favorite.
It's kind of back in the woods.
Yellow Dog Eats is look. It's pops up right here on the map. It's kind of up here. This is more outside of Windermere.
It's kind of like North Windermere.
It's really kind of close to 429.
Yep.
So here's my question. It's Yellow Dog Eats, I think, advertises itself in Gotha. Is it Gotha or Gotha?
Gotha.
Gotha.
It's Gotha.
Gotha.
Yep.
Okay. So Gotha's a real small little kind of enclave up here where the turnpike is. And that's what Yellow Dog Eats. I don't know whether it's the same zip code as Windermere or not, but
It's the city of Gotha, but you'll never call it Gotha. Everyone just calls it Windermere.
Windermere. Yeah. Because everything up here is Windermere. Like Windermere goes all the way up McGuire Road, almost to the turnpike. This is all still considered Windermere, even though it's way north of the downtown, right? So all this up here is still considered Windermere. And then there's the town, and then Eric's and Magic Kingdom and stuff is actually
I'm in the Magic
way
Kingdom
over
part of
here,
town,
way down here. So all this is kind of considered Windermere, just like Horizon West is considered Winter Garden, and that's way up near the turnpike too. But yeah, so
Is your neighborhood considered Horizon West?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
That's what I thought.
it
He's
is
5 minutes from
I was going to say, you guys are right
totally
down the road
different
from each
totally
other.
different, cities. but-
different city, different zip code. Yeah, but so in terms of looking at houses, we looked in Windermere as well as Winter Garden. And like I said, we looked at some things in developments, but we looked at some things in the downtown too. There's pluses and minuses to both of those.
Timing was important to you.
It was.
right? Because I'm very kind of lucky that I bought in 2020.
Yeah.
I'm a veteran, so VA loan 2.25%
Nice.
or 2.275, I think, percent. And prices were low. Builders were still giving like incentives.
What month? Were you waiting on
It was
the home to be built?
I closed in October, I think.
Okay.
So towards the end of 2020, and when I bought, it was like, here's a $35,000 builder incentive.
Yeah, people were still scared
all this
around
kind
then.
of stuff. They were and then we close, move in, and I'm like, whew, and then I see the prices start.
Yeah, I signed for my house in February of 2020.
Oh.
And I was thinking, I might need to cancel it. There's a huge pandemic.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't. But
Yeah.
Well, but then Jason decided to move down. So Jason and I were friends because he worked for the company, and he's like me. Lee and I wanted to be close to Disney, and we love the free fireworks show every night. Our dog doesn't even bat an eye when the fireworks go off and all this stuff. And Jason kind of wanted to be in that area. The problem is Jason's now doing his home search when the prices have gone up probably 30 or more percent at the time, and interest rates have probably more than doubled when you were searching.
Interest rates were going up.
Yeah.
Right. They were on an upswing, and I'm like, I didn't have a timeline in terms of when I wanted to move here, but I had a timeline in terms of I need to get something and lock it in before the interest rates go up and prices keep going up.
yeah.
Am I allowed to say that you wrote how many offers? How many houses? 7 or 8?
We made offers of 7 or 8 houses.
Most for above asking price before you got one.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yes.
That sounds about right for the time period.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was.
It was wild for everybody,
It was.
myself included.
I haven't looked recently, but my house is probably still worth more than I paid for it, even though I bought it what I consider to be like the height of
at the peak,
craziness.
Yeah, they
it
still
depends
got
on how much equity you already have and all that kind of stuff.
But
It's still, I don't know if you get it. I still get occasionally people walking by, knocking on the door and asking to buy my house. They bought my neighbor's house for cash.
That's
And he
wild.
made I don't know. I think he sold it for a couple $100,000 more than he bought it for. For owning it for a year, and someone knocks on your door with a bag full of cash. All right.
Do you know if it was investor or buyer?
It was.
Investor,
So it was.
yeah.
I won't say anybody's names or anything,
Right.
but they were basically doing a 1031 exchange from a property in Hawaii, and they had, I think you have 30 days to get a new house under contract, and they were at like day 25.
Yep.
So they were running around town knocking on doors trying to get someone to sell their house.
We'll do another video on that. but
1031s,
But-
absolutely.
But yeah, they needed to not pay taxes, so that's why they
Right.
did that essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So I think any last things to say about Windermere, Eric? You like
No,
living
I
there.
just think if you're a Disney person, you're moving down here to be close to Disney. It's a great location. There's a lot of businesses. There's a lot of restaurants. There's a lot to do that's not Disney, and you're super close to everything from Magic Kingdom,
Yeah.
Disney Springs, Epcot.
I mean, look, you can even visit Tibet.
Yeah. I mean,
The Tibet Butler
Yeah.
Nature Preserve, but I just call it Tibet.
but I mean, to live, 5 minutes from the Polynesian, like,
Yeah.
and to be closer to the fireworks than the guests at the Polynesian.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
nice touch.
I
right?
mean, even
Yeah.
me over in Horizon West, I'm closer to the fireworks than like 3/4 of the hotels at Disney
Yeah,
World.
Yeah.
So that's really nice. It's inconvenient when there's perimeter fireworks for a special event, and they should close more of
Close
the roads and
roads.
stuff. But
Yeah.
in general, it's not too bad. The one thing I will say is everyone's confused by the new road sign by the Polynesian.
The one that says stop,
Stop,
and then,
the
do
one
not
on the right
stop.
says "Don't
Yeah.
stop." Have you seen that?
No, I haven't
the new
seen it yet.
construction,
I
the
took
road
a
construction are
picture of
doing.
it.
Oh, I
kind of
passed by it on the monorail.
right where
but I didn't
Seven
see that.
Seas hits Floridian Way.
Yeah.
They've divided the southbound lane into like a left-hand turn lane and a straight
straight.
lane. So in between those two, they have a stop sign.
Oh God.
But it's only for the people who are in the left lane. People in the right lane, they have another sign that says "Do not stop." So you're driving down the road, stop, do not stop.
Yeah.
It's funny, I went into like a Walmart the other day, and there was is the sign for the automatic doors is like, it says welcome, and then the stickers on the doors are like, do not enter.
You need
Yeah.
to make merch that says stop, don't
Right.
stop.
Stop, don't stop.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
But,
yeah, I'd say like the ideal buyer that's going to want to move to Windermere is going to be someone that's probably got 500,000 or 600,000, because that's kind of like where single family home prices start at in this
Yes.
area.
Yep.
That doesn't want a lot of maintenance because homes are newer,
Right.
and they want to be right in Disney's backyard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like you said, I would have bought a house in your neighborhood if there was one.
And as soon as you bought one popped up, right?
I mean, it was your house is smaller than mine.
You got a lot of
We
houses.
kind of
Mine's
needed.
only like 2,200 square
We
feet.
kind of wanted more space for the dogs and the kids and stuff. So we actually, I mean, we tried to buy your neighbor's house before that investor
Before that lady
came
bought
over.
it for cash. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a couple houses in your neighborhood that are bigger, but
Yeah.
none of those were available. So, but that would have been great because the fireworks are right there. I mean, I guess if they're late night fireworks, they probably wake you up.
Every now and then.
Yeah.
Every now and then, especially when they're doing like a shell test or something, and you forgot about it.
Right,
and it's like
right.
midnight, and you start. Whoa.
Yeah.
Depending on the weather conditions, it can really shake the walls.
I've heard
you know?
that. Yeah, I've heard it out in Claremont before.
Yeah.
It's wild.
Yeah. Well, anyway,
But
that's
when you wake up with your morning coffee and you can hear the train,
You can
and
hear-
you can hear the boats,
Yep.
ding ding, and all that stuff. While it's pretty magical.
and you can hear the electrical water pageant
yep,
at night.
yep.
Yeah, no, it is magical. It's really cool. So that's our Windermere episode. Certainly, if you have questions or want more information on Windermere, you can contact Eric at eric@magicalmoves.com. If you want, we can do another episode on Windermere a little bit later on and go into some more detail. We can look at that one house that I looked at and talk about it in a little bit more
Was
depth.
it Tiger Woods' house?
No, it wasn't. But stay tuned. I think next week we're going to talk about condos.
Yeah.
we're gonna take a break from looking at areas, and we're going to talk about condos because most of what we've been talking about has been single-family homes or townhouses. But there's people that move down here that want to look at condos too, and we've gotten some questions on condos. So we're going to take an episode and talk about condos and what to think about and whether you want a condo or not. And then we'll come back and we'll probably get on to Dr. Phillips or Kissimmee or some other town that Disney-bound home buyers are looking at.
Yeah.
But thank you, Eric, for coming on and talking about
Pleasure
your
to be here.
experience. I know you would have just been sitting out.
You have a check
out there.
for me or something?
No.
Okay.
Off camera.
But yeah, so Eric at magicalmoves.com if you have questions or want more information or you're looking to buy a house. If you have feedback on the show, you can email me, Jason, at wwnt.com. If you want cool shirts like this one that I'm wearing.
This is from Disney.
Oh,
this
that's a Disney
Yeah.
one. That's the
I can
food
tell because this one's higher quality.
Oh,
I'm just kidding.
you might not be wrong, honestly.
one. I don't think you're wrong.
It was cheaper than this one, that's for sure.
But if you want a cool shirt, this shirt is a Park Candy shirt. Park Candy is one of our advertisers here at WWNT. You can go to wwnt.link/parkcandy and use the code WDWNT to get 15% off your purchase. But again, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for next week when we'll be talking about condos and all about condos, and then we'll come back the week after with some more towns discussion.
O-towns.
O-Town.
O-Town.
O-Town West. That's a whole section we got to talk about. O-Town. Then there's also Old Town, which is different. But anyway.
Two different things.
I digress. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.